I was abandoned to die, but I returned stronger. I never imagined my life would end in a cold hospital room in Columbus, Ohio, with the people I loved the most telling the doctors to let me go. My name is Edward Coleman, and at 72, I had kidney failure. I remember lying there, wires all over my chest, barely breathing, when my son, Michael, and his wife, Sarah, walked in. Their words still sliced through me like broken glass. "Dad is old," Sarah said. "Dialysis is pointless. Why waste money?" And my son, my own blood, nodded. "We can't afford this. Just make him comfortable." I wanted to scream. Beg. Tell him I wasn't ready to die. But my voice was trapped in my throat. The doctor looked at me with pity, as if I were already gone. And as Michael walked out, he didn't even glance back. I felt my heart breaking faster than my kidneys were failing. That night, I stared at the ceiling, the smell of disinfectant choking me, and whispered to myself. "Edward. This is how your life ends." But life had other plans. On the edge of death, a stranger walked into my room, and changed everything. I woke to a soft voice beside my bed. "Sir, don't give up." She wore blue scrubs, curly hair tucked behind her ears, eyes warm with a kind of stubborn hope. "My name is Angela Ramirez. I'm your night nurse." I tried to speak, but only a whisper escaped. "They want me dead." Angela clenched her jaw. "I heard everything. And I'm not letting you die because of them." She adjusted my oxygen, wiped my forehead, and said something no one had said to me in months. "You matter." Later that night, she made a call. I heard fragments. "Yes, he qualifies. Urgent placement. He has no advocate. I'll handle it." By morning, 2 specialists entered my room. "Mr. Coleman," one said, "we've reviewed your case. There's a program that can cover your treatment fully. You were referred by Nurse Ramirez." I looked at Angela. She smiled. "I believe in fighting for people who've been thrown away." Thrown away. That was exactly how Michael made me feel. As they wheeled me out for emergency dialysis, I whispered to myself. If I survive this, I will rise again. But revenge wasn't yet on my mind. Only survival. Revenge would come later, slow, quiet, and devastating. Dialysis was brutal. Cold. Loud. A machine keeping me alive when my own children wouldn't. But day after day, Angela sat with me during treatment. She wasn't just a nurse, she was a lifeline. "Your case is rare," she said once. "Most elderly patients without family support struggle. But you fight." I didn't feel like a fighter. Not when I woke up trembling. Not when the beeping machines reminded me of my fragility. But on the 10th day, the doctor came in with news that felt unreal. "Your kidneys are responding. With care, you may qualify for home recovery soon." Home. Then the reality hit me, I had no home to return to. Michael had taken over my house after my late wife passed. Renting out my room. Using my garage as his storage. Angela noticed the sadness on my face. "You can't go back there, can you?" I shook my head. She sighed. "Then we'll find somewhere safe. Somewhere you choose." Hope lit a spark in me. A second chance was forming, one I hadn't planned for, but one I desperately needed. And in the background, a storm of justice was quietly gathering strength. One slow afternoon, Angela handed me an envelope. "Mr. Coleman, this was in your file." Inside was a copy of a document bearing my forged signature, a living will, stating I refused life-saving treatment. My blood froze. Michael had submitted it. And worse, the signature looked almost perfect. Almost. Angela leaned in. I knew something was off. I checked the timestamps. Your son submitted this after you were admitted unconscious. The betrayal was complete. My son didn't just abandon me, he tried to legally erase me. Angela whispered, you survived because I stopped the order before the attending physician approved it. For the first time since my wife died, tears slipped down my cheeks. That night, rage replaced sadness. I promised myself. If I live. If I walk again. If I breathe without tubes. I will expose him. But not out of pettiness, no. My revenge would be deliberate, strategic. A lesson carved slowly into their future. With my treatment approved and my stability improving, the hospital arranged temporary assisted housing in Cincinnati, Ohio. The facility was peaceful, warm halls, fresh meals, compassionate staff. But I wasn't there to rest. I was rebuilding. Walking again. Eating without help. Regaining strength in muscles that had forgotten their purpose. Angela visited every weekend. You're getting stronger, she said. I have to, I replied. One evening, during physical therapy, I overheard two residents talking about a nonprofit program that helped seniors reclaim property stolen through fraud. My heart thumped. Fraud. Forged signatures. Illegal decisions. Michael fit all of it. And that was the moment a seed, small but undeniable, planted itself in my soul. A plan. A path to justice. Quiet. Calculated. And devastating. The nonprofit, Silver Shield Justice, specialized in elder abuse cases. I booked a consultation. The attorney, Miss Caldwell, reviewed the forged will and hospital records. Her eyes widened. Mr. Coleman, this is textbook elder abandonment and medical fraud. We can pursue this. My heart pounded. Even if it's my son. Especially if it's your son. She explained my rights carefully. The forged will was a felony. Medical neglect leading to near death was prosecutable. Property misuse could be reversed. My hands shook as I signed the retainer. Not because I was afraid, but because I finally had power again. Do you wish to pursue criminal charges? She asked. No, I replied slowly. Not yet. She raised a brow. What do you want, then? A quiet investigation. Let them think I'm gone. Her lips curled into a small smile. That can be arranged. Revenge wasn't loud. Revenge was patient. Revenge was the echo of justice. My kidneys plateaued. Not failing, but not improving enough. I needed a miracle. A transplant. But at my age, chances were slim. Mr. Coleman, my doctor said gently, you may be on the waiting list for years. Years? I didn't have years. But life has a strange way of surprising the broken. Angela showed up with a small envelope. I submitted your story to a senior assistance grant. You qualify. Inside was approval for priority specialist placement at a renal institute in Cleveland, Ohio. A chance. Angela squeezed my hand. You're not dying on my watch. Her kindness was a balm on my wounded soul. But as hope grew, so did my resolve. If I survived. If I rebuilt my life. Michael and Sarah would feel everything they had done, in a way they never expected. 3 months into treatment, I received a phone call that froze me mid-breath. Mr. Coleman. We found a donor match. A donor? At my age? It felt unreal. I closed my eyes and whispered, thank you, whoever you are. The surgery was scheduled at the Cleveland Renal Institute. Angela traveled with me despite not being required to. The night before surgery, she sat beside my bed. You're scared, she said. I nodded. I'm scared of surviving, I admitted. She frowned. Why? Because surviving means facing the people who left me for dead. Angela placed her hand over mine. Then faced them stronger than ever. The next morning, as I was wheeled into the operating room, I whispered a promise into the cold air. If I live, this story won't end with pain. It would end with justice. The surgery was long, nearly 7 hours. When I awoke, I could barely breathe from the weight of tubes and bandages. But the doctor smiled. Your body accepted the kidney, Mr. Coleman. It's a success. A success. The word felt like sunlight on my skin. Angela hugged me gently. You made it. For weeks, I learned to walk again, eat again, laugh again. The world felt new, like I had died and returned with a mission. I was reborn, but not naive. My attorney called. We've collected evidence from the hospital, including audio from the night of the forged will. My jaw tightened. All right, I said. It's almost time. But not yet. A rebirth deserved patience. The storm was building, and I was its quiet center. 6 months after my surgery, I stood on Winter's Edge Drive in Columbus. My old street. My old home. My old life. Michael didn't know I was alive. My attorney had kept my status confidential during the investigation. The porch light was on. My garage filled with boxes he never bought. He had taken my space, my home, my memories. I watched from across the street as he carried out a new lawnmower, laughing on the phone. He's dead, he chuckled. I handled it. Handled it? I gripped my cane until my knuckles whitened. The urge to confront him burned like acid, but I swallowed it. Not yet. Justice prepared slowly. I turned away and whispered, you took my home. But you will never take my future. Tonight, I walked away. Another day, I would return, but not alone. Back in Cincinnati, Angela visited with something on her mind. I need to tell you something, she said. Her voice trembled. My father, he died because my brothers refused to pay for his treatment. They said he was old. Useless. My chest tightened. Her pain mirrored mine. That's why I fought for you, she whispered. I couldn't save him. But I could save you. I placed my hand on hers. You saved more than my life, Angela. Her eyes softened. Then let me help with what comes next. I smiled, a slow, calculated smile. Yes, I said. I think it's time we begin. The preparation of my final justice had officially started. My attorney's investigation unearthed more than I imagined. Michael had attempted to access my pension. He listed my home under his name illegally. He used my medical condition to claim death benefits in advance. Every layer of deceit tightened the rope he unknowingly placed around his own neck. MS. Caldwell said, we are ready to file. But I sense you want more than legal justice. She was right. Legal justice punishes, I said. I want transformation. A poetic justice, she asked. I nodded. Exactly. She smiled. Then I'll let you orchestrate the next steps. We'll support from the shadows. The stage was set. All that remained was timing. One morning, Angela handed me a newspaper clipping online. Someone had posted an obituary. For me. Written by Michael. It read. Edward Coleman, survived by his loving son Michael. He passed peacefully. Loving? Peacefully. I nearly laughed. Sarah posted a long Facebook tribute too, full of fake tears and, we did all we could. Angela whispered, they buried a man who isn't dead. I leaned back. Good. Angela raised a brow. Good. I smiled slowly. Yes. Let them bury me. Let the world believe it. Because a man people think is dead. is the most powerful man alive. With my attorney's help, I legally changed my name temporarily to Edward Jameson. A quiet identity. A new bank account. A protected address. Even my medical records were sealed. Only 3 people knew. Me. Angela. My attorney. I lived quietly in a private senior apartment in Dayton, Ohio. Every morning I walked the courtyard, practicing breathing and strengthening. Every night I planned. Planned how to return not as a broken father, but as a man rebuilt. My son believed he'd erased me. Soon, he would learn you cannot erase what stands firm in truth. I followed his life from afar. He and Sarah were renovating my home. Vacations. Shopping sprees. Sarah posting pictures captioned, "God is good." Using the money they stole. One night, I sat with Angela and said, "They're living too comfortably." She folded her arms. "What are you planning?" "Discomfort," I replied softly. "The kind that makes people confront their souls." We shared a knowing look. It was time to disrupt their peace, but gently. A whisper before the storm. Michael received a certified letter. Sent anonymously. Inside. A single hospital photo of me, taken the night he abandoned me. On the back. "The dead remember." My attorney confirmed delivery. Michael panicked. He called Sarah 5 times. Called the hospital. Called the county office. "Is this some sick joke? My father is dead." My attorney smiled as she relayed the chaos. "Your son is shaken." "Good," I replied. Let him wonder. Revenge wasn't always loud. Sometimes, it whispered. 2 weeks later, another letter. This time, a photocopy of the forged will. With the words, "You will answer." Michael spiraled. He stopped sleeping. Neighbors saw him pacing at night. Sarah argued with him non-stop. Their perfect Instagram life cracked. Their lies were choking them, and they didn't know who was pulling the strings. But I knew. And I was patient. I visited my old street again, at night. Stood across from my house. Watched Michael step outside, pale and fearful. "Dad," he whispered into the dark. I remained silent. Hidden under my hood. Stronger now. Healthier. Alive. He felt my presence without seeing me. Fear began eating him from the inside. I walked away before he noticed. Revenge wasn't scaring him, it was awakening his conscience. And that was the point. Then came the real pressure. My attorney filed formal complaints with Elder Abuse Protection Unit, Medical Fraud Department, Property Rights Council. Investigators visited his home. Neighbors watched. Whispers spread. Sarah cried during questioning. Michael stammered. Their world tightened like a noose. And I sat peacefully in my apartment drinking tea. Justice didn't need anger. It needed truth, and truth was working. Michael lost his job due to the ongoing investigation. Sarah's family cut contact. They were drowning, not because I wanted them ruined, but because guilt always demands payment. Angela visited and asked, "Do you feel better?" I shook my head. No. Revenge isn't the goal. Then what is, she asked. Redemption, I whispered. For them, and for me. One rainy evening, Michael showed up at my old house porch, crying. Talking to the empty air. "Dad, if you can hear me. I'm sorry. I was scared. I didn't want to lose money. I didn't want responsibility." His voice cracked. "You didn't deserve what we did." I watched from across the street, unseen. His confession wasn't for show. It was real. He was breaking. And breaking was the beginning of rebuilding. 2 weeks later, Sarah and Michael received a letter asking them to meet at the community center for clarification of the investigation. When they entered the room, they froze. I stood there. Alive. Healthy. Walking cane in hand. Michael collapsed into a chair. Sarah screamed. I simply said, "Sit." They did. Silent. Shaking. Then I spoke. I did not come for revenge. I came for truth. And for justice. I laid out everything. The forged will. The abandonment. The lies. The property theft. Sarah wept uncontrollably. Michael couldn't look at me. My attorney explained the legal consequences. Charges could be filed. Property could be reclaimed. Their financial fraud had consequences. I watched fear choke them. Then I said softly, "I will not press criminal charges." Their heads shot up. "But you will return everything that belongs to me. And you will pay restitution, every cent you took." They nodded rapidly. But most importantly, I leaned forward. "You will live with the truth of who you became, and who you must become now." Michael sold his car. Sarah sold her jewelry. They moved into a cheaper apartment. Every month, they sent restitution payments. Not as punishment. But as responsibility. They attended counseling. Community service. They rebuilt themselves from ashes. And slowly. Very slowly. They changed. One day, Michael visited me. He cried again. Not from fear. But from humility. "Dad, thank you, for giving me a chance to become a better man." I placed my hand on his shoulder. Redemption is the greatest revenge. A year later, I stood in front of my reclaimed home. Healthy. Strong. At peace. Michael and Sarah arrived, older, humbler, human. They handed me a plaque they had made. For the father who lived. For the father who forgave. For the father we failed. And strive daily to honor. I felt a warmth fill my chest. Not victory. Not vengeance. But justice, poetic justice. The kind that transforms instead of destroys. I hugged my son. Not because he earned forgiveness. But because I earned peace. And as the sun set on Winter's Edge Drive, I whispered to myself. I was abandoned to die. But I rose to live again. Thank you for listening to my story. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and share my videos. Thank you.